But now this online grooming has taken over.
Yeah.
Parents show love in different ways. Some parents show love, say, here is money, credit card to go buy your things. But what children want is attention and love, and spend time with them, spend quality time with them, so that they can avoid getting the attention from elsewhere. The online grooming is something that perpetrators now hide behind the scene. If a child say, I feel not loved, I feel lonely, they tend to go online and get this attention. And you never know who is hiding behind the screen, talking to them.
Hello and welcome back to The Movement, a podcast to resource, empower and develop leaders in the fight against human trafficking. Today we have a very special guest, Eileen Dong. Hello, Eileen.
Hi, David. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. Okay, tell me how to say this. Hope Picks
Global.
Did
Yes,
I say
very
that
well
right?
done. Yes,
Okay,
very
good.
well.
I've always wondered, I've seen it written and I thought that must be Picks. It is. What does it mean?
Good question. So some people think it's acronym. They write all in caps. PICS has two meanings. One of the meanings is just a British mincing system used to store silver. And religiously, it's the containers that is used to store the Eucharist during the communion.
Oh, it is actually that. Wow.
Yes.
I grew up with that. Wow. Very nice. So it's got a spiritual and it's got a...
It is.
Yeah.
It's totally spiritual. I think when I founded the nonprofit organization, I know I wanted to bring hope to the world, especially as a survivor myself, to bring hope to the fellow survivors or even victims who are still going through this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, what can I name the organization? Because, there are different names that already incorporate hope in their organization names.
Yeah.
And I pray to God, same as I pray to God, how he called me to do this work. And not the long story, but the short version is I pray to him, if you send me the people, I will build it.
Yeah.
And he did. And that's how I started the nonprofit organization.
That's the opposite of the saying, if they build it, they will come. No,
Right.
You're like, if they come, I will build it.
Yes, that's my faith. I say, you want me to do it, show me the sign. He sent me the people, I did it.
Very good. Very good. And when did you start it?
8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're turning 9 years old in October.
Just about as old as redM, a little bit older.
Oh,
Is that right? You're going to be 9. Yeah, a little bit older. We're February. There would have been 18, so you'd have been 17 when you started.
end of 17, yes.
There you go. See, we all had the same feeling around the same time.
Yes, but you're doing great work. I love to, witness how redM has grown.
Yeah, it's just different models. People doing different things. We're all needed in this
Totally.
fight. Yeah. So the work you do, let's talk about. I mean, you can talk about some of the cool stuff you do, which is a lot of things. But how do you describe what your organization does?
So Hope Picks Global provides services for survivors of human trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence that are, in the area of gender-based violence through policy advocacy, economic empowerment, youth leadership, and innovation.
Okay, so 4 areas.
Yes.
I had to use my fingers while you were speaking, but yeah. Okay, so 4 areas. So you're helping survivors directly?
Directly in the economic empowerment section.
So is that an education thing you do?
Education, directly and indirectly. So through one of my different hats and titles, I work as a former UN Global Goals Ambassador, also known as the SDGs, the Sustainable Global Goals.
Pretty cool. It sounds very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
United Nations. How did you come across that?
It's a good question. I'm thinking back that 8 years ago I started the nonprofit, so I've been volunteering for the last 10, 15 years. And gradually I was volunteering. Then God called me to do this work. I was with Judge Angelina Gooden with, I think it was the 208th District Court that issues protective order for human trafficking survivors. And she came to me at one of the coalition meetings afterwards. She was like, Eileen, your ethnicity is not represented about 10 years ago. So I said, Judge, this is a big ask. That's why I asked God. I said, God, when I went through my own trauma and abuse and exploitation, I was lost. Why did this happen to me? But more importantly, why did this happen to me in a foreign country? If I were in China, I would have had the support system. I wouldn't have been homeless. I wouldn't have been re-traumatized, re-exploited. And that's why today Hope X Global's mission is one of the many goals is to build a shelter to help other survivors, because having to address the root causes. I remember meeting you the first time talking about addressing the root causes. You were at that event, they were talking about rescuing people from the water, but stop people from falling in the water. And I often
going
use that.
further upstream.
Exactly.
David Batstone? Was it David Batstone?
I think so. Yes, totally.
Because I just saw him in Washington, D.C. I bump into him all over the world.
Wow.
We just text and go, what are you doing right now? I'm flying to London. I'm flying to London. So same, we were in DC, but he was telling that same story.
I love it.
He says, go further up if you see people in the water, yeah.
Same reason why we're addressing the economic empowerment section to help. I work with the United Nations back to that, the UNDP, the UN Development Program, to figure out the financing part. How do we help them with education? How do we, with one of my areas of expertise, you and I started meeting because I was a former petroleum engineer. So how can I help them explore their passion, explore their potentials? Some might not have any education, or some might do, but some might choose to do work in this area. Some might not want to do anything. I have worked with survivor leader councils. I was honored. The previous First Lady of Louisiana, Governor, invited me to train the Survivor Leader Council to explore their potentials. I have Survivor Leader Council members telling me they want to run for office. They want to go to law school. They want to start a nonprofit. Each person have their own skills, just like you and I have different skills, and how we all work together to fight trafficking and prevent this in the long run.
That's wild. So when we had a long talk in 2020, I remember it was hard times, eh?
Yes.
Trying to work out. Was it after that the UN thing started happening?
Yes, it was after that.
Yeah,
so
you weren't sure what was next, but we were having lots of conversations.
Yes, and thank you for your guidance. You definitely has been one of the many people that God has put me in my path as my angel to guide me through my work. And really, I give all the credit to God.
Yeah.
He, I was on Governor Abbott's Survivor Advisory Council.
Wow.
Then I went on national on the USCRI, the United States Committee for Refugees and Immigrants Council.
Yeah,
so gradually, my name just got out there. And
you're so famous.
Oh, I'm not. I think you're more famous than me.
You're doing a lot of good in a lot of places. Yeah.
It's important and it's needed. And I was thinking that years ago, my teacher in school in China said I was an introvert. And it was God. I have never done public speaking.
I'm also an introvert. So here we are.
Yes.
Two introverts doing a show. Because you know why? Because we have something to say.
Absolutely.
We might not want to, but we have something to say. So what would you want people to know? What's a big subject you think we should talk about?
I think there are so many evolving topics that is going on, and it has happened over the years. But one of the things I wanted to address, which I feel like is the most time sensitive, is technology facilitated and online trafficking.
Okay, well, tell us something. Educate us.
Yeah, so as you know that I'm going to start with some stats. I think it's important that the FBI Internet Crime Center received 859,000 cybercrime complaints in the year of 2024 alone. with 16.6 billion in revenue.
Wow.
And that's just the number alone. And, you're a business person, so that gives you the stats of what's going on. And I also wanted to address what's important to know is because of the cybercrime, it crosses borders. It doesn't matter where it's the traffickers are based out of.
Yeah, so we saw a case recently where there was a girl being groomed, and then when we traced the phones, it was in Mexico, but it could be anywhere, right?
Exactly.
Could be anywhere.
Exactly. And that's why I say it's so important. Back then, we say we educate the parents about what's going on in our backyard. Now we need to educate them on what's in our bedrooms, the conversations that are going on. And I'm sure, some of the parents might know some of the phones that the calculator apps and things that can hide the apps for the children to be chatting with perpetrators. And I remember years ago we talked about the grooming, just like the in-person grooming. But now this online grooming has taken over. Parents show love in different ways. Some parents show love, say, here is money, credit card to go buy your things. But what children want is attention and love, and spend time with them, spend quality time with them, so that they can avoid getting the attention from elsewhere. The online grooming is something that perpetrators now hide behind the scene. If a child say, I feel not loved, I feel lonely, they tend to go online and get this attention. And you never know who is hiding behind the screen talking to them. Might not even be a man, might be a woman. And that's something so important for people, both children themselves and youth themselves, who are the highest number online right now on social media. But that's not alone. United States is one of the highest buyers of online sexual exploitation for children from overseas, with the Philippines being the highest number of perpetrators. Familial trafficking, their own parents.
Southeast Asia, that's one of the challenges, right? Is that there's there's various ways of looking at it, but there is children being sold by their own families,
That's a shame. So, I think it goes both ways. How do we prevent our children from being groomed and exploited here in the United States? How do we prevent, and that's the work that you're doing as well for the U.S. Citizens or people that are in the business field, prevent them from falling and becoming the buyers and who are the victims in there. Another stats I like to share is that NCMEC is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, reported 26,000 child sex trafficking in 2024, with a 55% increase from the year 2023. And even worse, a 1,300% increase in cyber tip line reports involving the AI-generated trafficking.
Wow. So we're seeing that. What does AI trafficking look like?
AI trafficking involves the CSAM, which is the child sexual abuse materials. So what's going on now is the AI is being used with auto-generated, say, taking a person's picture. It's already happening. You can put your photo on ChatGPT, say, I want to wear a different dress, different hat. That's what they're using to groom the children, using different ways. They can use that either to abuse them in a way, say, okay, I have your photo. This is a photo that you don't want the public to see. But if you don't do what I tell you to do, and this is what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to share with your classmates, share with your parents, then they manipulate the children and the youth into doing the work and eventually become trafficking. Yes, that's one of the areas. Some other areas is the cryptocurrency, which is one of the areas, but Monero is one of the forms of cryptocurrency that is being used to transfer the money in the dark web that people are not able to trace. And take it back. It's harder to trace through the dark web with the payment form rather than the banks and everything. And that's what the UNDP is working as well on preventing through like using the financing system, tracing the payment. Like back to what we talked about in the Philippines, if we see one person, maybe 10 emails, but one bank account saying whether PayPal, whatever forms of payment to different individuals in a similar amount of money to the same country, then that kind of reflects it is the buyer.
So we have people following the money to see who the buyers are, who the traffickers are.
Yes.
Wow, that's good. So that's happening at an international level.
It is. So the IACP, I recently published an article which more details audience can read, the International Association for Chiefs of Police, with more details on some of the details on the forms of trafficking, as well as the stats and the traces. But yes, the different organizations and like the OSCE, the international, the UN and different organizations, UNODC, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UN Women, which combats gender-based violence, going back to the areas of crimes, human trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence. These are the 3 areas that works on. And the global goals that I talked about, it might sound very far. There are altogether 17 SDGs. And the 2030 is, we have 4 years to go, and we're way behind track for achieving the goals to combat human trafficking. My special focus is on SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And amongst the 17 SDGs, there are 169 targets. So I work closely with other ambassadors on other goals. So SDG 16.2, target point 16.2, talking about ending exploitation, abuse, torture, and violence against children. So I work closely with target 5.2 talks about the same, but to end violence, abuse, torture, and exploitation against women and girls. And with that, I don't want to say that, we talked about women and children, but I want to mention that men and boys are also victims.
What does it look like for men and boys? Do they have an idea of how many, what kind of percentages? How is that happening?
That I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm happy to provide afterwards to share with the audience. But I do know that there is a huge gap that needs to be filled. I know that there are organizations that are doing that. I can't think of the one that is doing the intervention here in Houston, but I know that in Dallas there's one shelter.
Bob's House?
Bob's House of Hope, yes.
House of Hope, yeah.
Yes, so they have a shelter over there, but it's, as I mentioned, it's way lack of the number of
underserved. Yeah.
Yes.
I know someone who works with boys in Guatemala. But yeah, it does seem like an underserved area.
Yes.
It seems that I was on a radio show in Houston, and someone was asking, male was asking, where can I get help? I sent them to Hands of Justice, but yeah, that's not a lot of options.
Not a lot. The good news is I do, because of my work, having worked on a state, national, and international level, if in the future you have people, anyone see like boys and men who needs to seek help, I can leave my contact information here as well to be reached out. But I would always recommend to call the national hotline, which is 888-3737-888. That is definitely will get to the resource if they don't have the direct resource themselves.
Okay, that's good. Thanks for mentioning the hotline. It's a good point. 888-3737-888. So now I find it easy. For a long time I was like, I'll just search the human trafficking hotline.
Right.
I'm not good at remembering numbers, but I'm there now. Well, that's good. So what other areas? What areas should we be educating ourselves on?
I think it's to spot the red flags. A lot of the, is if you see someone who seems to behave differently, for example, they seem to have their freedom controlled by someone they might be with. For example, if you are a nurse or at the medical frontline facility, and they might be fearful of speaking on their behalf, or someone else is speaking on behalf of themselves, that is a sign to watch out for. And, be very careful of whether to distribute or share resources, because if the perpetrator is there and notice that you are doing that, it will jeopardize the safety of the survivor themselves.
So is it fair to say it's better to call the hotline than to engage? I mean, what do you do if you think you're seeing something?
I think, if typically the trafficker will be a male and the survivor will be a female in this kind of medical setting. So if they are separated in the examination room, it will be an opportunity maybe to pass them something in writing, and we have a street outreach, share with them. Like sometimes we put it on a little mirror, business card shaped like a mirror, and it's hidden and it has a number in there, but it looks like a mirror. So they will take it and then they can flick it back, say this is the number to call, and something discreet. And sometimes we do outreach, like I've done the work overseas as well. In Japan, what we did was we had like a bus that is loaded with food, clothing, and we will park it in front of the church and have food there. They can come. It's on a monthly basis, so they can come get clothes and stuff like that. Then we will include this kind of information for them to reach out to. And additionally, for people who look like foreign nationals, they might have their travel documents kept by the traffickers. So that will really refrain them from leaving because of their documentations and things like that.
Makes me think of something is with all that's going on in the US there's a newer vulnerability, which is undocumented. Is that an area there's a lot of trafficking?
It is. With the United States Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, our areas of focus is actually on only non-U.S. citizens.
Okay.
So we have two areas, TVAP and Aspire. TVAP serves non-U.S. citizens who are immigrants or refugees, adults. And Aspire serves children of the same category. And with them, we did see a decrease of reporting because they were worried that what if we report, then we are mandatory to report them.
They feel like they'll get thrown out of the country if they report a problem, and so they're vulnerable by nature.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And last year I was in D.C. Representing my other hat. I'm on the Survivor Advisory Board with the Alliance to End Human Trafficking. So I recall meeting Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, and he was mentioning the number of people who were deported and then returned and died because of the climate near the border. And there's an increase of that as well.
Oh, wow. That's intense. So is there a way that if people, they're hearing your story, they're going to, where would they learn more about your organization?
So I have website Eileen Dong, DONG.com, Eileen, EILENDONG.com. That will give you the idea of the work that I work on the policy side, as well as the work that keep up to date on the United Nations, and how we can, what I call, take the global action, but take the local action and make the global impact. So that's one of the areas. And I have also published one book on trauma recovery. And this book originally was intended for training law enforcement as well as survivors who are going through the trafficking, to who has gone out of the life and help them recover, because I documented my own way, step by step, and like I call it, holding them baby hands. But also helping the law enforcement, especially as you know, you have worked with survivors. Sometimes doesn't matter of their background, doesn't matter of their educational backgrounds or language. Because of the trauma, they have a one-tracked mind that they cannot process. Like everything seems like a cluster. So I simplified it in a manner. And later on, when I was working with one of the organizations overseas, some have adopted the book to be used as the support group material. So they use that as like a weekly curriculum that was read to the survivors. Once again, they each have different literacy levels. Some might not speak or read English well. But I intend to write my second book regarding leadership, as I mentioned, about exploring and helping survivors who has gone out of the life and now what they are looking as
next.
Right, what next? So that's with the individual level. On the organizational level, as I mentioned, we provide these services: economic empowerment, policy advocacy, youth leadership, and innovation. It can be found on Hope Pix Global, PYX, hopepyxglobal.org. And I think social media is the best. My handle, Eileen Dong, or the Hope Pix Global will keep up to date about a lot of the things going on. For example, United Nations has different schedules. March, I recently was involved with consultation on the digital side, which we focused on. So we've contributed on that. And once that get released, I will be posting that on the social media website as well. But yes, that will be a good way to get involved. And of course, we need volunteers. Any shape of volunteers who have, skills, whether they can help providing education, providing services. Like, we need everyone. We need dentists.
No matter what it is.
Right, no matter what it is.
Place. So if you can give some of your professional skills, you can find a use for it.
Absolutely. And last but not least, I mentioned that two of our big goals one is to build a shelter, two is to build the social enterprise to address the root causes. One is to help them find a place so that they don't have to be homeless and find them in vulnerable situations. Two is economic empowerment. We want to provide them with a job so that they have housing and income.
So resume writing, I assume, any kind of skill training development, you can use anything that anyone has. So outreach to you at your website, or?
So I can be reached at hopepyxglobal@gmail.com.
Okay.
That would be the best way to reach us at. And on the website, if you want to make a charitable donation as well, that's a tax deductible as a nonprofit 501c3.
Lovely. Well, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll have you back sometime. But it's been really helpful to learn about your organization and what you do. And thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. It is my honor. And the feeling is mutual, David, for your leadership in this fight. And it takes truly a village. And I'm honored to be part of this in the fight with you.
Yes, we like having you in the fight. Well, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.